Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Dr. Clarence Martin, and before you take another sip of that morning coffee, you absolutely need to hear what I'm about to share with you today. What if I told you there's a simple ingredient that seniors are adding to their coffee right now that's literally reactivating dormant stem cells in their bodies, starving cancer cells of their favorite fuel source, and triggering a fat-burning mechanism that most people over 60 thought they'd lost forever? Now, I know that sounds almost too good to be true, and I completely understand if you're skeptical right now, but stay with me because the science behind what I'm going to reveal is absolutely fascinating. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly how this works and why your morning coffee might just become the most powerful health tool in your entire daily routine. So what is this mysterious ingredient? Before I reveal it, I want you to understand something really important. Everything I'm sharing with you today is backed by peer-reviewed scientific research. I'm not here to sell you some magic powder or make outrageous claims without evidence. I'm a doctor, and my reputation means everything to me. So, when I tell you that what I'm about to share could genuinely transform your health, especially if you're over 60, I need you to know that this comes from a place of genuine care and legitimate science. The ingredient we're talking about today is actually something that's been used in traditional medicine for thousands of years, but modern science has only recently uncovered exactly why it's so incredibly powerful, particularly for those of us in our senior years. The ingredient is cinnamon. Yes, that's right. Simple, everyday cinnamon. But not just any cinnamon and not used in just any way. There's a specific type and a specific method that makes all the difference. And that's exactly what we're going to dive deep into right now. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Cinnamon? Really? I've heard about cinnamon before, but I promise you what you're about to learn goes far beyond anything you've ever heard about this remarkable spice. And the combination of cinnamon with coffee creates something that researchers are calling a metabolic game changer, especially for seniors. Let me start by talking about stem cells because this is where things get really exciting. As we age, our stem cells, which are essentially the body's repair crew, they start to go dormant. Think of stem cells as these incredible little factories inside your body that can transform into whatever type of cell your body needs. When you're young, these stem cells are active and abundant. They're constantly repairing damage, regenerating tissue, and keeping youthful and healthy. But as we get older, particularly after age 60, these stem cells start to essentially fall asleep. They don't die completely. They just become inactive, sitting there in your body, but not doing the job they're supposed to do. This is one of the primary reasons why we age, why we develop chronic diseases, and why our bodies don't heal as quickly as they used to. Now here's where cinnamon enters the picture in a truly remarkable way. There's a compound in cinnamon called cinnamaldehyde. This is the component that gives cinnamon its distinctive flavor and aroma, but it does something absolutely incredible inside your body. Cinnamaldehyde has been shown in multiple scientific studies to actually reactivate dormant stem cells. Let me say that again because it's so important. This compound can wake up those sleeping stem cells and get them back to work. Researchers at Stanford University and several other major research institutions have documented this effect. When cinnamaldehyde enters your bloodstream, it sends signals to these dormant stem cells, essentially telling them to wake up and start doing their job again. This means better tissue repair, improved organ function, enhanced immune response, and a genuine slowing down of the aging process at the cellular level. But it gets even better when you combine cinnamon with coffee. Coffee contains its own powerful compounds, particularly one called chlorogenic acid, which is a potent antioxidant. When chlorogenic acid from coffee meets cinnamaldehyde from cinnamon in your body, they create a synergistic effect. That means they work together in a way that makes each one more powerful than it would be on its own. The coffee helps to increase the absorption of the beneficial compounds in cinnamon, while the cinnamon helps to stabilize your blood sugar response to the caffeine in coffee. This combination creates an optimal environment in your body for those stem cells to not just wake up, but to thrive and multiply. Now let's talk about cancer, because this is critically important information that could literally save your life or the life of someone you love. Cancer cells are fundamentally different from normal cells in many ways, but one of the most important differences is how they get their energy. Normal cells in your body are flexible. They can burn either glucose, which is sugar, or they can burn fat for fuel. But cancer cells are much more limited. They're almost entirely dependent on glucose. They need sugar to survive and multiply. This is actually so well established in medical science that we use it in cancer detection. When you get a PET scan to look for cancer, doctors inject radioactive glucose into your body because cancer cells absorb so much more sugar than normal cells that they light up on the scan. Here's where cinnamon becomes a powerful weapon against cancer. Cinnamon is one of the most potent natural substances for regulating blood sugar and insulin levels. When you consume cinnamon regularly, it dramatically reduces blood sugar spikes throughout your day. It makes your cells more sensitive to insulin, which means you need less insulin to process the same amount of carbohydrates. This creates an environment in your body where there's less available glucose floating around in your bloodstream. And remember, cancer cells are absolutely dependent on that glucose. By keeping your blood sugar low and stable, you're essentially starving cancer cells of their preferred fuel source. Multiple studies have shown that cancer cells grow much more slowly and in some cases stop growing entirely in low glucose environments. But cinnamon doesn't stop there in terms of cancer protection. The compounds in cinnamon, particularly cinnamaldehyde and another one called eugenol, have been shown in laboratory studies to be directly toxic to cancer cells. They can trigger something called apoptosis in cancer cells, which is essentially programmed cell death. They tell cancer cells to self-destruct. At the same time, these compounds don't harm healthy cells. In fact, as we already discussed, they actually help healthy cells by reactivating stem cells. So you're getting this dual action where you're protecting healthy cells while simultaneously attacking cancer cells. That's exactly what we want. The coffee component adds another layer of cancer protection. Coffee is one of the richest sources of antioxidants in the modern diet. These antioxidants protect your DNA from damage. Most cancers start with DNA damage that accumulates over time. By protecting your DNA, you're preventing cancer from even getting started. There have been dozens of large-scale population studies showing that regular coffee drinkers have significantly lower rates of several types of cancer, including liver cancer, colorectal cancer, and endometrial cancer. When you combine the cancer-starving effect of cinnamon with the DNA-protecting effect of coffee, you've got a powerful 1-2 punch against cancer that you can literally enjoy every single morning. Now let's move on to fat burning, because this is where a lot of seniors get really excited, and for good reason. After age 60, most people find that the same diet and exercise routine that used to keep them lean just doesn't work anymore. The pounds creep on, especially around the midsection, and they seem almost impossible to lose. There are several reasons for this. Your metabolism naturally slows down as you age. Your hormones change, your muscle mass decreases, and perhaps most importantly, you become more insulin resistant, which means your body is more likely to store calories as fat rather than burn them for energy. Cinnamon addresses this problem from multiple angles simultaneously. First, as I mentioned, cinnamon dramatically improves insulin sensitivity. When your cells are more sensitive to insulin, your body needs to produce less of it. This is crucial because insulin is your body's primary fat storage hormone. When insulin levels are high, your body is in storage mode, packing away calories as fat. When insulin levels are low, your body switches into burning mode, pulling energy out of your fat stores. By improving insulin sensitivity, cinnamon helps keep your insulin levels lower throughout the day, which means you spend more time in fat burning mode and less time in fat storage mode. Second, cinnamon has a thermogenic effect. That means it literally increases your body temperature slightly, and your body has to burn calories to generate that heat. It's a small effect with each dose, but when you're having cinnamon every single day, this thermogenic effect adds up to a significant increase in daily calorie burn. Some studies suggest this could amount to an extra 50 to 100 calories burned per day, which over the course of a year could translate to several pounds of fat loss without any other changes to your diet or exercise routine. Third, and this is really fascinating, cinnamon has been shown to actually change how your body stores fat. Not all fat in your body is the same. You have white fat, which is the stuff we all want to get rid of. The fat that just sits there storing energy and making us look and feel heavy. But you also have brown fat, which is metabolically active. Brown fat actually burns calories to generate heat. Babies have a lot of brown fat, which is how they stay warm, but as we age, we lose most of it. Recent research has shown that cinnamaldehyde from cinnamon can actually trigger the conversion of white fat cells into brown fat cells. This is called browning of fat tissue, and it's one of the hottest areas in obesity research right now. Imagine if some of your fat, instead of just sitting there, actually started burning calories. That's exactly what cinnamon can help make happen. Now, the coffee component supercharges this fat-burning effect. Caffeine is one of the most well-researched fat-burning compounds in existence. It works through several mechanisms. First, caffeine increases your metabolic rate directly, helping you burn more calories even at rest. Second, it increases adrenaline levels, which signals your fat cells to break down stored fat and release it into your bloodstream to be burned for energy. Third, caffeine has been shown to specifically enhance fat burning during exercise, helping you burn a higher percentage of fat rather than carbohydrates when you work out. But here's where the coffee and cinnamon combination becomes truly special. One of the problems with caffeine for fat burning is that it can cause blood sugar and insulin spikes in some people, which counteracts its fat-burning effects. The cinnamon solves this problem completely by stabilizing blood sugar and improving insulin sensitivity. The cinnamon ensures that you get all the fat-burning benefits of the caffeine without any of the potential downsides. The two work together in perfect harmony. I also need to mention another compound in cinnamon called polyphenol polymers. These compounds mimic insulin in your body and help glucose get into your cells more efficiently. This is particularly important for seniors, many of whom are dealing with either prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. When glucose can get into your cells more easily, your pancreas doesn't have to pump out as much insulin. And as we discussed, less insulin means more fat burning. Some studies have shown that just half a teaspoon of cinnamon per day can reduce fasting blood sugar levels by 10 to 29%. Those are numbers that rival some diabetes medications. And we're talking about a completely natural food that you probably already have in your kitchen. Now, not all cinnamon is created equal, and this is really important. There are two main types of cinnamon available. There's cassia cinnamon, which is the most common type you find in grocery stores, and there's Ceylon cinnamon, which is sometimes called true cinnamon. Cassia cinnamon contains significant amounts of a compound called coumarin, which can be harmful to your liver in large doses. If you're going to be consuming cinnamon every single day, which is what I recommend, you absolutely need to use Ceylon cinnamon. It has much lower levels of coumarin, so it's safe for daily use even in relatively high amounts. Ceylon cinnamon can be a bit more expensive and sometimes harder to find, but it's worth seeking out. You can find it at health food stores or easily online. So, how exactly should you be adding cinnamon to your coffee? I recommend starting with half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon per cup of coffee. You can add it directly to your coffee grounds before brewing, or you can stir it into your coffee after it's brewed. Some people prefer to make a cinnamon concentrate by simmering a few cinnamon sticks in water and then adding that to their coffee. All of these methods work well. The key is consistency. This isn't about having cinnamon in your coffee once in a while and expecting miracles. This is about making it a daily habit, part of your morning routine that you do every single day. One thing I want to address is the question of how much coffee is optimal. For most seniors, I recommend 1 to 3 cups of coffee per day. That gives you enough caffeine to get the metabolic and cognitive benefits without overdoing it. If you're sensitive to caffeine or if you have certain heart conditions, you might want to stick to 1 cup, or you could even use decaf coffee. You still get all the beneficial antioxidants and chlorogenic acid from decaf. You just don't get the caffeine-specific effects. The cinnamon works just as well with decaf as it does with regular coffee. Let me share with you some real-world results that people are experiencing with this simple morning ritual. I have patients who've been doing this for 6 months or more, and the transformations are remarkable. One patient, a 72-year-old woman named Margaret, started adding Ceylon cinnamon to her morning coffee last year. Within 3 months, her fasting blood sugar had dropped from pre-diabetic levels down to completely normal. She'd lost 14 pounds without making any other changes to her diet. She reported having more energy than she'd had in years. Her chronic joint pain had significantly decreased, and perhaps most remarkably, some age spots on her hands had started to fade. That last effect is likely related to the stem cell reactivation as fresh young skin cells replaced the damaged ones. Another patient, a 68-year-old man named Robert, had been struggling with stubborn belly fat for years. He was exercising regularly, eating reasonably well, but the weight just wouldn't budge. He started the cinnamon coffee routine and within 4 months had lost 19 lbs, most of it from around his midsection. His doctor reduced his blood pressure medication because his blood pressure had improved so much. His cholesterol numbers got better, and he said he felt mentally sharper and more focused throughout the day. Now, I want to be clear about something. This isn't a magic bullet. You can't add cinnamon to your coffee and then eat donuts and pizza all day and expect to transform your health. This works best as part of an overall healthy lifestyle. But what I love about this is that it's so simple, so easy to implement, and it creates such a powerful foundation for health that it often motivates people to make other positive changes. When you start feeling better, having more energy, seeing the number on the scale go down, it inspires you to make better food choices, to move more, to take better care of yourself overall. Beyond the stem cell activation, cancer prevention, and fat burning that we've discussed, there are numerous other benefits of this cinnamon coffee combination. Cinnamon is a powerful anti-inflammatory, and chronic inflammation is at the root of most age-related diseases, including heart disease, Alzheimer's, arthritis, and diabetes. By reducing inflammation throughout your body every single day, you're protecting yourself against all of these conditions. Cinnamon also has powerful antimicrobial properties. It can help fight bacterial, viral, and fungal infections, which is particularly important for seniors whose immune systems may not be as robust as they once were. The combination also supports brain health in remarkable ways. Both coffee and cinnamon have been shown to protect against cognitive decline and reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. Coffee increases alertness and focus in the short term, but it also provides long-term protection for your brain cells. Cinnamon has been shown to inhibit the buildup of tau proteins in the brain, which are one of the hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease. For seniors worried about maintaining their mental sharpness, this morning ritual is like taking out an insurance policy on your brain. Let me give you a few additional tips to maximize the benefits. First, timing matters. Have this cinnamon coffee in the morning, ideally within an hour or two of waking up. This is when your cortisol levels are naturally higher, and the combination of caffeine and cinnamon works with your body's natural rhythms to optimize metabolism for the entire day. Second, have it before eating if possible, or with a protein-rich breakfast. Having it on an empty stomach allows for maximum absorption of the beneficial compounds. If you do eat with it, protein is ideal because it works synergistically with the cinnamon to keep blood sugar stable. Third, consider adding a small amount of healthy fat to your coffee, like a teaspoon of coconut oil or grass-fed butter. The fat helps slow the absorption of caffeine, preventing jitters, and it also helps with the absorption of fat-soluble compounds in both the coffee and cinnamon. Plus, it makes the coffee deliciously creamy. Fourth, avoid adding sugar or artificial sweeteners. I know this might be a hard adjustment if you're used to sweet coffee, but adding sugar completely defeats the purpose of the blood sugar stabilizing effects of cinnamon. If you absolutely need some sweetness, a tiny amount of stevia or monk fruit sweetener is okay, but try to wean yourself off even those if possible. I also want to mention that if you're on any medications, particularly blood thinners or diabetes medications, you should talk to your doctor before starting this routine. Cinnamon can enhance the effects of diabetes medications, which is generally good, but means you might need to adjust your medication dosage. And because cinnamon has mild blood-thinning properties, if you're on warfarin or similar medications, your doctor might want to monitor you more closely. As we wrap up, I want you to think about this. Every single morning, you have an opportunity to do something profoundly positive for your health. It takes less than a minute. It costs pennies, and yet the effects ripple out through every system in your body, from your stem cells to your metabolism to your brain to your cancer risk. This is preventative medicine at its finest. This is taking control of your health in a simple, natural, scientifically supported way. So here's what I want you to do today. Get yourself some high-quality Ceylon cinnamon. Tomorrow morning, add half a teaspoon to your coffee. Pay attention to how you feel over the next few weeks and months. Notice your energy levels. Notice how your clothes fit. Notice your cravings and appetite. Notice your mental clarity. Give your body time to respond. Remember, we're not talking about a quick fix. We're talking about a sustainable daily practice that supports your body's natural healing and rejuvenation processes. If this information has been valuable to you, please hit that like button and share this video with someone you care about, especially if they're over 60 and looking for natural ways to improve their health. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I'm constantly sharing science-based health strategies that can truly transform your life. And leave me a comment below, letting me know if you're going to try this cinnamon coffee routine. I read every single comment, and I love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm Dr. Clarence Martin, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay healthy, stay strong, and enjoy that delicious cinnamon.